All right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends on where you are connected. My name is Emmanuel Adigbola, and I want to invite you and also, welcome you to today's show. Thank you so much for showing up on Kina Ed Show today. Once again, I'm so excited to see you guys here, and I'm so excited, so excited. It's like I'm hearing some noise. Okay, I'm going to mute all our guests. Okay, thank you so much. So please just know very well that this is not a one-way communication, is not a one-way event. You also have an opportunity to contribute, ask your questions, and just interact with our guests, okay? And in order for you to do that, for us to see your comment, you have to allow Facebook and StreamYard to interact. So all you have to do is make sure that you go to streamyard.com/Facebook and permit, just give, it's not going to take you more than 5 seconds to do that. Streamyard.com/Facebook is going to allow Facebook and StreamYard to communicate with each other. So from there, we'll be able to see you whenever you make any comment or you ask any question. All right. So having said that, just know that I'm not alone. I'm just the co-host of the event. And then we have our guest, our specialist, nutritionist in the house, and we have also the host herself. So I'm going to start from Doka. Let her introduce herself to our viewers, and we will take it from there. Over to you, Miss Udoka.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Udoka. I have a master's degree in clinical nutrition. I was working as a registered dietitian for some years. So thank you for having me on the show today.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're so excited to have you. Wow. I believe today is just for the daughter and the mother alone. Even though we are still expecting some of our guests to join us, we have Dr. Tracy, but she will be able to connect with us just via audio. Let's bear with her due to some circumstances beyond our own control and our own control. So Dr. Tracy, can you hear me? Dr. Tracy, can you hear me? Okay, so we will be taking her here and there just in case she's able. But before then, let's welcome our host, the host of the show herself. So she's going to introduce today's topic. What are we discussing? What are our expectations from today's show, and so on and so forth. All right, so join me to welcome the one and only Dr. Kina Omenako. Over to you.
Welcome to today's Kina Health Show. I am Dr. Kina Omenako. I am a family nurse practitioner and I practice in a clinic in Mesquite, Texas, USA. Welcome again. Today, we're going to be focusing on the secrets of weight management, and we're going to examine the link between high cholesterol and weight, your body weight. Most people, like we know, that have high cholesterol eat foods that are high in saturated fats and they seem to have decreased physical activity, and consequently, they tend to be either obese or overweight. So today we have some experts that are going to be looking into those issues together and educate us on how we can do better with what we eat so that we can have a balanced diet and monitor and maintain a body mass index that is appropriate so that we can remain healthy. Welcome to the show.
Awesome, awesome. And once again, we want to welcome everyone. And here we have Mr. Alex. Let the party begins. Mr. Alex, will you go ahead and just introduce yourself to the audience? You are so welcome.
My name is Alex Wahiri. I'm a co-host of this wonderful program, Cleaner Health Show. You're welcome.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So we are going to get started, and I hope Duka is ready because today is just going to be, it's all on you. You are the specialist here. And trust me, your mom will not let you drown. She's going to be supporting you here and there, but I know you are more than able. So let's just get started talking about the weight management. So what is it all about? Talking about weight management, how do you manage your weight? What is it that I mean, what is it all about? Over to you, Mr. Doka.
Yeah, weight is something everybody wants to know about weight. And when we're talking about weight specifically for health, not just to look aesthetically pleasing or however you want to look, but for health purposes, when we talk about weight management, we're talking about maintaining a healthy BMI. We're talking about making sure that whatever your body's healthy weight is, you're able to maintain it, and paying attention to when there's weight loss that's not expected, and when there's weight gain, which typically most people are dealing with secret weight gain that's sneaking in. So when we're talking about weight management, we're talking about making sure that's in check.
Okay. So I'm going to be, I'm going to be firing you, as I said. Sometimes I will go off the question because this program is for laymen, laywomen, people that don't understand some of the jargon, some of the terms. So when you say heavy BMI, what does that mean? What is BMI? What does that mean?
Yes, that's a good question. BMI stands for Body Mass Index. That is how your doctor and health professionals will figure out if you're considered overweight or obese or underweight or healthy weight. It stands for Body Mass Index. It's based on a calculation that you don't really need to know. We professionals don't even memorize the calculation, but you can actually Google. It's based on your height and your weight. So if you put in how tall you are, I'm 5'7", and you put your weight, you can find what is your BMI, and it will tell you if that BMI is in a healthy range or if it's too high or too low.
Wow. That is so awesome. I see Dr. Kina just shaking her head as you are talking. I guess she wants to add to what you just said. I mean, as a family physician, I believe somebody comes and that's one of the things she also look into. So over to you, Dr. K. You are muted.
Some of you might be wondering, what is the normal BMI? When you go to the doctor, you get these numbers, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, or your BMI. It is very critical that you understand what is a normal BMI and where you should be at. A normal BMI is between 18 and 25. And anything under that, you're underweight. Anything over that, you're overweight. And I mean, there are different from 25 to 30, you are overweight. Anything after 30, you are actually obese. And if you go past 35 and you have high blood pressure and you have high cholesterol, you're actually morbidly obese. So that's an area you don't really want to go get into. So it's important to know your numbers.
So now, to an average person, that is it possible to know your number without having a primary physician? Any
Yes, you
answer?
can.
Okay, so how?
Udoka, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, so you're asking, is it possible to reduce your BMI without working with your doctor?
Yeah, let's okay. For instance, you don't really have a primary physician, and I just want to know, okay, what is my BMI? So, is there any way? Is
Yes.
there a reference or a website where okay, I know my height, I know my weight. So, how can I know my BMI, and how can I know whether it is normal, abnormal, so on and so forth?
Yeah, so Google is the fastest way. If you literally put in your height, your weight, and BMI, it will tell you what is your BMI, and it will tell you if you're overweight or underweight, and it will tell you how many pounds you need to add or how many pounds you need to lose. There's also apps. Everybody has smartphones now. There are lots of apps that will help you keep track of your BMI. So there's a lot of different
EG,
easy to
EG,
access options. Sorry?
EG. I told you that today we're going to be going off book. So there are a lot of apps. So e.g. example, for instance.
Okay, for instance, um, let's see. So I'm going to pull up some apps on my phone right now. Like if you type BMI calculator in your
Okay.
phone, there's apps like that. And then there's apps that if you have downloaded a weight loss app, any app that's keeping track of your food, like Get Fit or Healthy Fit, there's many different types of apps that people are downloading to keep track of their food or to keep track of their exercise. That app probably also has a BMI calculator. So it's very easy to find out what is your BMI and if it needs to be corrected.
Okay, awesome. That Dr. K, you want to add? Abby, Dr. Tracy, I know you are there. Can you hear us? Dr. Tracy, can you hear me?
I don't think she can hear us actually.
Yeah, I just saw a message. Okay, it's okay. So, Dr. Kina, you want to add to what Miss Udoka just said? You are muted. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I've always preached that you must go to your doctor. Whenever you're in doubt, and as a matter of fact, annually, you're supposed to go to your doctor. So your doctor, just one of the things that your doctor calculates when you go to see your doctor is your BMI. So you write it down, and then you make sure you figure out how much weight, whether you're overweight or obese or morbidly obese, and you work with your doctor to figure out what's the best way to get your BMI back in check.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to be bringing Mr. Alex as he introduce the next question to our specialist in the house. Over to you, Mr. Alex.
So much. We've been talking about BMI and how to figure it out, how to know what it is, with a view to knowing what next to step. Ina has said, if you need to go to your doctor to get this thing straightened out. Now let us assume that your BMI is high. At that point, what are the strategies you need to adopt to begin to reduce it?
That's
Okay.
that's a very good question. And my mom, I don't know if I should say my mom or Dr. Kina, but she mentioned when in doubt, go see your doctor. And the reason why you want to do that is it's really important to know if there is some underlying issue that would make your weight loss strategy different. There's autoimmune diseases, there's genetic diseases, there's hormonal issues, there's a myriad of things that are underlying that can explain why are you adding weight or why is it difficult to lose weight. So it's very important to make sure you're getting regular checkups, or if you feel like something is wrong, making sure that you're taking time, the money and the time to go see the appropriate doctor to check that out. Because once you have that out of the way, now you can come up with a better strategy. The idea is that our bodies are calories in, calories out, which sounds really simple, right? If I eat less and exercise more, I should lose weight. It sounds really simple, but what starts making it complex is you have different lifestyles, you have different body chemistry. Like I mentioned before, you might have an underlying issue that's making that different. And because there's so many different things at play here, that's why there's so many different people looking for different types of diets and different types of specialists to help them lose weight. And there's actually a lot of different ways to lose weight. But what we want to see is, can you find something that will be sustainable? Not only is that whatever, if it's an exercise program or a diet or what have you, not only is it something that's helping you maintain a healthy weight, but is it something that you can sustain for hopefully the rest of your life? So that requires an even deeper dive.
Wow, wow. I'm really, really, really enjoying this. So, but before we fly and before we begin to dive in really, really deep, I think it's also good that we explain the hyperlipidemia. So maybe Dr. Kina wants to take that up before, so I will be able to balance it then as we move on, because even when we grow, we're talking about weight management and weight loss, definitely we'll be referring to the hyperlipidemia, or is it hypo, is it hyper? Is it possible to be hypo also? So over to you, doctor.
So that's a very good question. Hyperlipidemia is when you have excess cholesterol in your body. And there are different types of cholesterol. Um, you may not even know there is a good cholesterol. We're not going to be diving into which one and all the types of high cholesterol. But again, that's why it is important when you go to your doctor, you know your numbers. There is cholesterol, which is your total cholesterol, which is supposed to be less than 200. There is triglycerides, which mainly you get from fried foods, saturated fat, and again, that is supposed to be less than 150. Everything we discussed today is not just a one-way traffic like Udoka has mentioned, because everything plays into all your other comorbidities, whether you have high blood pressure, whether you have diabetes, those numbers changes, So that's why we still keep advising that you must always go to your doctor. There is a good cholesterol, and your good cholesterol help balance your bad cholesterol and protect your heart and your body from the dangers of high cholesterol. So when your good cholesterol is low, you're at as risk as somebody who has high bad cholesterol. So there has to be a lot of balancing and education. So that's why you must always go to your doctor to educate you on these numbers. And just be curious, be inquisitive. When you go to the doctor, don't go to the doctor and just say, I went to my doctor today. Know your numbers.
I think Jota said something the last time, talking about that. Okay, it's not just only food, because some people think, okay, when you just eat less and you exercise, so if you eat less and you exercise, automatically maybe that will control your weight, and that if you have a weight gain before, that might reduce it. But you also notice that some people, maybe when they are depressed, all of a sudden they begin to gain weight. So what normally causes that? Udoka wants to take that up.
Oh, yes, I can answer that. So, yeah, mental health also plays a big role in your ability to maintain your weight. So you mentioned that weight gain can happen with depression. Also, weight loss can happen with depression. Why that's happening is because maybe there's a reduced motivation to do things that you used to do. Maybe you used to be active and now you're not. Maybe you used to eat relatively healthy and now you just eat whatever. Or maybe you used to eat regularly and you're so depressed that you're not eating at all. So those mental health issues come into play, and medications also come into play. Even mental health medication and like medication to control cholesterol or any type of medication, there's that element of it could make you add weight or lose weight. So yeah, that's definitely a factor as well.
Oh, wow. Awesome. We want to welcome Dr. Lord. Good to see you. You are so welcome. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers before we continue?
Okay, my name is Dr. Law Osando. I currently run a practice in Lanham, Maryland, adult gerontology nurse practitioner, and I've been guest to this program a number of times, and I'm happy to be here today.
Awesome. We are so excited to have you. We are talking about weight management and the hyperlipidemia, and we've kind of a talk here and there about it, and we are on what normally causes, what are the cause or the causes of weight gain or even the hyperlipidemia. Because I remember there was a time we did in our church, we normally do this clinical checkup, and of course I discovered that most people have a like a high cholesterol. And when you look at Africans generally, most of this food we eat, most of the soup we eat, palm oil, this, that, they are made up of all of that. And we are not from China. I wish we are. Maybe I can begin to eat some Chinese food and that will bring it down. But yeah, and of course, we don't have any apology for our own African burgers. You don't have a McDonald's, you don't have a Big Mac, but we have our own burgers that we go for. So now, how do we balance that even when we are still living life without torturing ourselves? Does that make sense? So that's exactly what I mean, because you can be torturing yourself in the name of, okay, I want to lose weight. Meanwhile, these are the things that God has blessed us with. So let's just hear from Dr. Law's views before we continue on this. We're talking about weight loss, hyperlipidemia, what causes it, and so on and so forth. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't log in time due to some technical faults with my system here or with the general system. I don't know what really happened. I overheard when Udoka started by saying about BMI, which is the body mass index, with which you are able to establish where somebody is on the weight scale and what needs to be done. Definitely 18 is underweight, 20 is normal weight, 25 is overweight, and 30 is obese. And for anybody in these categories, there are certain things you're expected to do to be able to get your normal body weight. And it is obvious to know that most people who are overweight, it really cuts down on their life expectancy, it cuts down on their health. The body that is large, the knees and the joints that are carrying such a body will also begin to complain at some point. So that's why it is very, very important that we look at weight as a problem and not as some of us in Africa think that somebody who has a lot of weight is enjoying life, but that is not true. So, but basically, if you see people in their 80s and 90s, watch out and find out. You hardly see people who are obese living to that particular age. It is usually very uncommon. So if you reduce your weight, you are likely your longevity is more or less going to be more than somebody who is carrying a lot of weight. And why do we gain a lot of weight? Sometimes it's due to your metabolic process. If you have hyperthyroidism, your weight will be different from if you have hypo. So the metabolism of your body will either help you keep some weight or lose some weight. And if you are burning down a lot of what you eat, then it's most likely that your body will be not as heavy as somebody that is not burning that fast. So some of these things are some of the things we inherit genetically that keep some people slim and some people a little bit stocky or fat. So there are health habits that we encourage in people to make sure that they get to a particular size. If you go to different parts of the world, you'll find out that if you go to France, you see that almost everybody you see in the street is either normal weight or a little bit underweight. But if you go to some other countries, like come to the United States, you see that a lot of people are overweight. So that is an epidemic, and that's what we need to look at. And that's why health issues, dieting, and then the issues of lipids in the body are supposed to be taken seriously. So I have tried to give a little bit summary about the weight issue. I will need to have some pointed questions to go further from here. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Wow, you've just captured everything pretty much that we've talked about. I'm going to be bringing back Mr. Alex as he introduces the next questions to our specialist in the house. Over to you, Mr. Alex.
Yeah, Dr. Lawson, I'm coming back to you. There was an issue you raised that seemed to be catching my attention. You talked about genetical factors in this issue of overweight. I also want you to explain more how that genetic factors can be managed. And then if you wouldn't mind, can you also give us the link between cholesterol and overweight or weight management? How are they linked?
Yes, genetic factors are what we inherit from our parents. Sometimes there are people that don't ever get fat no matter what they eat. That is simply their body makeup, the ability to burn whatever they eat. Sometimes it might be some abnormalities in the system. The person is not able to absorb everything he eats and use it to put weight in his body. And there are some people that don't absorb vitamin B12, and therefore they don't have the full effect, the metabolic process that vitamin C expedites in the body, and therefore they tend to have some weight. Then if you have hypothyroidism, you tend to have a lot of weight because your metabolism is a little bit slow. Some of these things are things we inherit in some way or the other. But there are certain medical things we do to try to help people who have certain conditions. Like if you have hypothyroidism, you get some help so that you get to normalcy and be able to have the metabolism that is going to keep your body in the normal shape. And there are some people also who inherit such condition that they get fat. There are some families you go to, everybody there has weight, whether they are eating well or not. So these are things, some of the things we are not able to explain, but some of them may be something some people might try to go and analyze and find out exactly what the situation is. So it is common that people understand that some families have weight, some don't, no matter what even if they eat the same thing. So those are the things we get to the specialist to find out some of those details. And when you are controlling the weight of a patient, For instance, some of us do weight loss. There are certain medications you give them to expedite the metabolic process so that they burn whatever they eat faster and get to a slimmer body. And then there are others. You use some herbal supplements and give them. Some of those herbal supplements will stop them from craving certain food substances. And therefore, they don't eat a lot. And if they don't eat a lot, their body size will be lower than what it is supposed to be. Then those that do bariatric surgery and tie up some part of their stomach, what that does is to prevent you from eating too much. And if you don't eat enough, then your body, the response of your body will be that of not having enough tissue to put here and there and get you fat. And what we should all understand is that carbohydrates, fats, those are the things that show up in our body as weight most of the times. And fats and oil will give you the cholesterol and the lipids, triglyceride that is causing some of the problems, blocking your arteries and veins and causing you to have heart conditions that are not desirable. So when you eat and your body is not able to use it for what it's supposed to be or burn it and so that you get energy, it's going to show up in one part of your body or the other, or even in your arteries and your veins. So that is the connection. If you eat, it will show up somewhere unless you burn it. That's why we encourage people to eat what you can burn before you go to bed, for instance. Don't eat and go and rest, because that will be converted into fat or into tissues that is going to sediment in one part of your body or the other. So I don't know whether I've answered your question very well, but that is the way.
You have, but can I ask one other question? Yeah, you have raised another issue, and that is the issue of poverty. Will it be right to say that poverty has a role to play in overweight and accumulation of cholesterol? Because I sometimes wonder, when I was in Nigeria, a lot of people do a lot of things. They are stressing, they're not eating well, and we don't find so many people overweight in such countries like that. So will it be right to say that poverty has a role to play?
Yes, to some extent. You and I know that where we grew up, especially in those days when we don't have a lot of this processed food that everybody eats now, that you see a young man, you see 6 packs in his tummy. He climbs to the treetop, cuts palm tree, does farming and everything. Whatever he eats when he gets home is not enough to take care of his daily activities and then show up in one part of the body as fat. So what he eats, he burns out. So it's not in America where every 2 hours somebody goes and takes a cup of coffee and takes crackers and eats, takes a glass of milk. And so whatever the person is eating is more than what he's burning. And therefore, it's going to show up as weight in his body. So poverty, to some extent, if you're starving, you'll be skeletal in nature, because you don't have flesh, muscles, and fat to show up in different parts of your body because you're not eating enough. But in America here, the reverse is the case. If you don't have money in America here, you tend to eat fast food. You eat a lot of French fries, burger, and all that. You don't have time and money to go to the shops and select vegetables that are going to keep your body in a good shape. You eat whatever you see because you don't know when you're going to see this next one. So you eat to your full all the time. and you go and sit down somewhere and wait for the next meal, that will make you add weight. So we don't need all these carbohydrates, all these fats, most of it. What we need will be the minerals and vitamins in those food substances. For instance, if you eat a bowl of rice, you don't need the carbohydrate you're pumping into your system, but you need the vitamins because it has a lot of vitamin B complex. It has a lot of minerals, has some calcium and all that. You need all those things, but you don't need them with the carbohydrate you are pumping inside your body. If you don't exercise or go to the treadmill and burn that carbohydrate you are eating, it's going to show up in one part of your body or the other. Your tummy may grow up, your hands may grow fat. That's why exercise is very, very important. If you have money to eat well, then you should have money to buy equipment to exercise and keep your body in good shape.
Awesome. Wow. Well, I'm just taking notes here, even myself, but I believe so much that everybody connected. They are, writing down their notes. They are taking notes just as I am, or you are recording. I have a comment here that I want. I think Ms. Udoka to quickly comment on that. And that comment, I think, is from one of our viewers, Dr. Namso. By the way, we greet you. That's one of our panelists. She just decided to watch us from afar today. So she says, it is also important to know that skinny people also have cholesterol problems. Yeah. We don't want skinny people to become complacent. And of course, she followed up with overweight can also be associated with stress and mental health issue. I believe you said it the last time that you spoke. So you want to make comments to that, so that people that are maybe you are skinny and you're okay, yeah, this program is not for me because you think hey, this is for obese or people that are fat, as we might popularly say. But then wait a minute, also in Africa, if you gain weight, you are bound to win contracts, right, Dr. Law? Anyway, go to over to you now, Ms. Udoka.
Yes, Dr. Namso is absolutely correct that skinny people can still have health problems, can still have cholesterol problems. So everything that we're saying, it does apply to people who feel that they're skinny. We colloquially use the term skinny fat to say that we call people skinny fat when they don't have a healthy diet, they're not having regular exercise, maybe they're showing symptoms of high cholesterol or certain different issues, but they still look slim. That's still a problem. So all of the things that we're saying about weight maintenance, skinny people need to also pay attention. Some people make the mistake of thinking, well, I'm skinny now, so there's no problem. But in the future, the bad habits that you have today can lead to weight gain in the future. And if not weight gain in the future, it can lead to health problems. We did a show a few weeks ago with colon cancer survivors, and I had some young guests on, and all of them were slim, thin, but they still had health issues. So Dr. Namso brings up a great point about that.
Awesome. And I want us to
add something to it.
Okay,
yes.
go ahead.
Dr. Nanso is right that the issue of hyperlipidemia does not apply to people who are fat only. No, it applies to everybody, and it also depends on what you're eating and what is your genetic component. There are patients that eat everything they see, and yet they don't have it. And you see somebody that's laboring to cut down whatever he's eating, and he still have high cholesterol and high triglycerides. So hyperlipidemia, it comes in form of triglycerides, which is also fatty materials floating in your body, and cholesterol. And so if you are diabetic or you have pre-existing conditions, we expect that your cholesterol level should not be the normal one. It should be a little lower than the other ones, like 70, whereas the normal should be not more than 100. So triglycerides should not be more than 200. But if you have pre-existing conditions, conditions that can exacerbate your problems with blood blockage of your veins, like diabetes and some other conditions, you also need to not get to that point. You need to watch. So on yearly basis, everybody is expected to do a physical. And when you do your physical, we are able to look at what your numbers are and see whether it's going up and going down. If you are going up, then we have to place you on medication to prevent you from getting to the range where these problems are more prevalent. So everything is on health examination periodically. You see your doctor at least 3 times every month.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doctor. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Long. Because of our time, we just have to push this forward so I will get to diet, nutrition, exercise, management strategies generally, because I don't just want to actually hear the word, okay, control your diet, what should we eat? I don't want to hear the word, okay, yeah, do exercise, all kind of exercise. Exercise, I can do exercise on my bed, I can do exercise on the chair, what kind of exercise? So I want us to be more specific to help our viewers. So I want us to go to the line of, the management strategies, both the weight issue and also the hyperlipidemia. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Udoka.
Yes, so when it comes to physical activity, you need to do, about 150 minutes per week. So people are like, what does that mean? So if we divided it by, if let's say you're working out 5 days a week, we want you to work out for 30 minutes just about every day. And the type of exercise we're talking about are aerobic exercises. That could be brisk walking. It could be running if you enjoy that. It could be a dance class. Anything where you're getting your body moving, you're sweating, your heart rate is going up. We want to see that 30 minutes a day. Some people, maybe they'll do an hour every other day to get in the 150 minutes per week. But that has been shown over and over again to be the bare minimum of what you need to do. And the type of lifestyles we live today, already people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. How do I fit that in? But you have to make time for that. And when it comes to the diet, we like to start out very simple. There are a lot of different diets out there that people are doing to lose weight, but we want to make sure that we're forming healthy habits. That includes making sure you're having 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And believe it or not, most people, they're not even getting that. What does 5 servings of fruits and vegetables look like? It looks like a handful of baby carrots. That's a serving. Have a side of spinach with your breakfast when you're having eggs or what have you. Adding berries into your yogurt. So typically the rule of thumb is when it fits in your hand, you can call that a serving. And so having 5 servings a day, that's the bare minimum. You want to start increasing your intake of nuts and seeds, those things like almonds, pumpkin seeds, things like that. Add that to your snacks rather than having crackers. Replacing those carby snacks with nuts and seeds will help. Also, you want to reduce the amount of saturated fat that you're eating. What's saturated fat? It's the type of fat that is found in dairy products, animal products. So what does that mean? Instead of eating beef, you can switch that with fish. Instead of eating pork, you can switch that for some beans for your protein. The more protein that you start adding to your diet and fiber, the more full that you feel, number one, Number two, you've added nutrients that you typically don't get. Dr. Law was talking about B vitamins. Those type of foods will have B vitamins in there. And number three, you're helping to ensure that you're actually reducing the calories you're intaking without really noticing that you're reducing the calories, because you're still eating a lot of food, but it's nutrient dense food. So those are kind of the first steps that I recommend for people.
Wow.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Yes. Let me make it a little bit more simple. Everybody should try and reduce portion size. Why most people add a lot of weight is the portion size, not even because of what they eat. If you eat more than what you need, then it's going to show somewhere in your body. So portion size is important. If you have a flat plate, divide it by half and cross it again. 1/4 of your plate should be like protein, 1/4 vegetable, 1/4 fruits, and the other one is going to be the carbohydrate. Don't take too much carbohydrate. Make sure you eat balanced diet. Sometimes when I travel, I ask for diabetic diet in the plane. And when you get that food, you find out that everybody really needs what you call diabetic diet. It's not supposed to be for diabetics only. That's how the food is supposed to be for everybody. Because it has some vegetables, it has some protein, it has less carbohydrate. So that's what I think everybody should adopt. Some vegetables has to be carbohydrates, protein, and then you get your fruits, because that is when you make sure that everything. And there's something I want to add about eggs. I read it up today. The eggs has been notorious for people saying, it gives you a lot of carbohydrates. You can't eat 2 eggs a day or something. But the recent research has shown that what has cholesterol in the egg is the egg yolk. But then when you eat the egg yolk and get the cholesterol in your body, your liver stops making cholesterol. So it will reduce the amount of cholesterol it's going to make. And therefore, it has not been found that egg actually raises the cholesterol level in the body. And egg also has the good cholesterol that we require in our body. It raises it because most people don't have enough of that, the good cholesterol, which is supposed to be from 40 and above. So I think people need to read more about the value of eggs to our diet and not run away unnecessarily when it's supposed to be helping us. So that's something I want to add to the discussion.
Wow.
Okay. Emmanuel,
Awesome.
I would like to add a few more things. I know there is no way to cover everything on weight management in one episode. But one of the first strategies to make sure that you go to your doctor and make sure there is no underlying condition that is causing you to gain weight. And once you rule that out, or if there are things like hypothyroidism, and you make sure that you're on medication to control that. And we've talked about foods that we can eat and what we cannot eat. It is also important to make sure that you eliminate simple sugar in your diet. A lot of people, they drink tea, they put sugar, they make their oatmeal, they put sugar, and so simple sugar is bad. So it's actually would be a good practice to just stop eating simple sugar, cut down on your sweets, your cake, your all those sweet stuff that we indulge in most of the time, and cutting down on your simple carbohydrates like your rice, your pasta, your corn, Many people think corn is vegetable, but it's not. It's packed with a lot of starch that you really don't need. And when you take your fruits, you know, back in the day, they used to say an apple a day saves you from going to the doctor. Eat fruits and vegetables. And without quantifying fruits and vegetables, bear in mind that vegetables have carbohydrates as well. So you have to look at what you're eating. Recently, I've been advising some of my patients that want to lose weight to Google glycemic index. Glycemic index is what guides you um, to weigh in the amount of sugar that is contained in either your vegetable, your food, and your fruit. You know, when we say eat fruits and vegetables, don't overindulge. Do not just go grab a whole bag of grapes and sit down and eat it in the name of eating fruits. That would actually put more sugar. So, exotic fruits are known to have high fructose. And at the end of the day, it all goes back into the blood and get converted into sugar. So, my top three fruits: blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry.
Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I mean, I'm really taking, I hope somebody is taking note. Like talking about 150 minutes per week, as said by Dr. Doka. Like, okay, don't set goals of doing exercise for 1 hour a day if you have not done 15 minutes before. You can just start small and increase it like that. And I believe strongly that that will help. And from what Dr. Law said, actually, I even draw it now. Once I get downstairs, I'm going to go show my wife, okay, this is the size of the food, you see? You draw it, cycle, 4. So when those fufu is more than this size, I will use knife to cut it. So it's good we work on all of this, because you don't just want to be like a Norbit. How many of us know Norbit that just gain weight unnecessarily to the extent that get into the pool and of course they scare the kids away, just like.
What's that?
It's Respucia. I'm gonna show you how a bitch go down a slide. Mother of God!
You don't want to get to the pool and you will dry off the water, So that is why we want to make sure that we control our weight and make sure so that you can, if somebody is coming out, you want to be able to at least get to any pool without scaring off the kids. Okay, Mr. Alex, over to you as we begin to thank you.
Margaret, I want to add something real quick.
Okay.
Let nobody wait till you can buy a treadmill or you have time to go and swim or jog. You can stay in your room. You can do imaginary rope skipping and count till 500 or 1,000. You don't have to eat and then go to bed. You can stay in your bedroom and jog. Or you can also buy the big ball, the bouncy ball. You stay while you're watching TV, you stay there and continue to bounce and exercise. So let us not think exercise is something you do outside the house. You can do it inside, and that will also help you.
Amen. That's a very good one. That's a very, very good one. And you can do exercise also even while you are in your bedroom. I love that. Okay, over to you, Mr. Alex.
Well, I think they have covered all that needs to be covered. I was really trying to ask him what level of exercises must it be outside, and he seemed to have covered it. So I don't think there's anything left, except if any of them still has anything to add.
Okay, awesome. So let me come back to Ms. Udoka as we begin to tidy up. So somebody has been on this show and this person has not really gained anything, or someone is just joining us and you want to give this person a take home, summarize what has been taught today, and this person should go home with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nuggets. Over to you.
Yes, we were talking about how weight management is important because if you don't manage your weights, making sure that you're maintaining a healthy weight, it can lead to a lot of difficult health issues down the line or even right now, and you may not even know it. So we talked about maintaining good portion control, portion size of the foods that you eat, making sure that you're increasing healthy foods like fruits and vegetables, and having 30 minutes of exercise every day.
Awesome, awesome. Over to you, Dr. Lord.
Yes, it is simple. Cut down on what you are eating, your portion size, and make sure you eat balanced diet. And when you eat, do exercise so that you burn what you don't need and keep what you need. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Over to you, Mr. Alex. What will you say your take home from today's discussion?
Well, cut down what you eat and make sure that you pick what is necessary and then add exercise to it, 150 minutes per week.
Wow, 150. That's figure just taken right there. 150. I was watching I think it was a video, one of all this motivational talk, and this guy was talking about 2 regrets he had. Is that number one, that he had not started exercising earlier. I mean, the law says something that hardly when you see people around 80, 90 years old, go and look at them. Very, very few, if they are any, that is, kind of, gain weight and live up to that stage. And I begin to just, kind of go around as they made mention of that. So it's good if not for anything, you have to. It takes discipline. Seriously, it takes discipline. Sometimes there are some of all this food we think that we love, and they will look so enticing. But if you can just torture yourself, I mean, it's not every birthday event you go to that you must eat cake. It's not like, for instance, that I don't drink soda. If I try to drink one soda today, then I will embark on what is called soda fasting again. Begin to count again. Begin to count, because all of these things we eat, they are all sugar. This and that. So we have to try as much as possible to help ourselves, help our family members, and above it all, still don't forget God, because I always say it. You can do everything. You can. I mean, my uncle is no more today. My uncle didn't used to eat everything we eat in Africa. My uncle will not, all this palm oil, the goosey, all this African food. My uncle will not eat them. I was so surprised when he was diagnosed that he had a cancer, and before you know it, one thing led to another. So yes, we don't overrule the role of God in our health, but at the same time, we need to play our own part and don't just turn God to 911 or magician. You play your own part, and at the same time, it will make life beautiful for us. So it's been my pleasure, pioneering today's show as one of your co-hosts. Now adding over to the host of the event herself, Dr. Kina Omeneko, as she closes the show today. Over to you, Dr. K. You are muted.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel, and thank you, panelists, Dr. Law and Mr. Alex. It has been a very interesting and topic that we dived into today. I'm very confident that our listeners and our viewers benefited from the discussion. Just to wrap it all up, we can see how whether you gain weight or you lose weight can cause you some health issues. So it's important that we make sure that what we've learned today about portion sizes, increasing vegetables in your diet, making sure you visit your doctor annually to check your blood work, to check your cholesterol, so that you will know your numbers and know how to move forward. I want to also add that increasing your activity is different from exercising. You know, some people will go to work, they'll sit for 3-4 hours and they wouldn't move. So just make sure that you're moving constantly. And in regards to exercise, just don't go to gym once in 3 months and spend 3 hours there thinking like you're getting a good exercise in. Consistency um, and making progress is very important when you exercise. And one other area that I want to make sure that I hand over to you before we leave today is, what do you replace your bread, your starch, your corn, your rice with? Complex carbohydrates like your legumes, your beans, red beans, black beans, those are all great substitutes for your carbohydrates. Thank you for listening today, and we will see you next year.